Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I welcome you all to the session on milk hygiene and pasteurization. My name is Dr. Fuad Hameed, and by the end of this session, the participants should understand about milk hygiene and what is pasteurization. Before I talk about milk hygiene, I would like to talk about food hygiene. Food is a potential source of infection and is liable to contamination by microorganisms at any point during its journey from the producer to the consumer. Food hygiene, in its widest sense, implies hygiene in the production, handling, distribution, and serving of all types of food. The primary aim of food hygiene is to prevent food poisoning and other foodborne diseases. Food hygiene can be grouped under one of the major headings, which is milk hygiene. So today I'll be discussing with you milk hygiene. When we talk about milk, there are certain sources of infection, and milk is an efficient vehicle for a great variety of disease agents. The source of infection or contamination of milk may be the dairy animal, the human handler who either milks the cows or collects the milk and transfers them into other containers and then transports that milk either to shops where it is sold or to a dairy farm. And the environment, example, contaminated vessels, polluted water, flies, dust, and so on and so forth. As far as milk-borne diseases are concerned, in 1970s, a joint Food and Agriculture Organization and World Health Organization expert committee on milk hygiene classified milk-borne diseases. And in this, it categorized the milk-borne diseases into two main categories. One was the infections of animals that can be transmitted to man, and the second was infections primary to man that can be transmitted through milk. So first I'll be highlighting the infections of animals that can be transmitted to man, and of primary importance are tuberculosis, then brucellosis, streptococcal infections, salmonellosis, Q fever, and staphylococcal enterotoxin poisoning. After these diseases of primary importance, we have a few diseases of secondary importance, and these include cowpox, foot and mouth diseases, leptospirosis, and tick-borne encephalitis. Coming to infections which are primary to man and that can be transmitted through milk, these include typhoid, shigellosis, and cholera. Further, these include enteropathogenic Escherichia coli, non-diarrheal diseases, which include streptococcal, staphylococcal, diphtheria, tuberculosis, enteroviruses, and viral hepatitis. Well, now talking about milk hygiene. Milk hygiene is a study of all methods necessary to ensure the production, handling, and final delivery to the consumer of clean, wholesome, unadulterated milk or milk products, including cream, butter, buttermilk, ice cream. When we talk about milk hygiene, we need to consider that milk secreted into the uninfected cow's udder is sterile. And after it is milked, then the process of contamination may start. As far as milk hygiene is concerned, milk sanitation is very important, and it includes the protection of milk from dirt and contamination. Milk sanitation is essential to prevent milk infection, and clean milk with low number of bacteria is a necessity and is possible by using good milking hygiene. Well, the essential steps, before I discuss the essential steps in hygienic milk production, I will like to elaborate a little more on clean and safe milk. Well, as far as the safety and keeping quality of milk to a particular standard are related to, this is related to its microbial content. The first essential in the production of clean and safe milk, therefore, is a healthy and clean animal. Milk from a healthy udder contains only few organisms, and these are relatively unimportant. Secondly, the premises where the animal is housed and milk should be sanitary. The milk vessels must be sterile and kept covered. The water supply must be bacteriologically safe. Milk handler must be free from communicable diseases, and before milking, they must wash their hands and arms. Where possible, milking machines must be used. Milk should be cooled immediately to below 10 degrees centigrade after it is drawn to retard bacterial growth. In the production of good quality milk, cleanliness of all containers and equipment in which milk is handled is very, very important. Methylene blue reduction test is something which is an indirect method for detection of microorganisms in milk. And this test is carried out on the milk accepted for pasteurization. And it is based on the observation that bacteria growing in milk bring about a decrease in the color imparted to milk. And in conducting the test, definite quantities of methylene blue are added to 10 ml of milk, and the sample is held at a uniform temperature of 37 degrees centigrade until the blue color has disappeared. The milk which remains blue the longest is considered to be of best quality, and a scale of grading different milk samples on the basis of the time required to reduce a definite quantity of methylene blue has been worked out. The test thus serves as a confirmation of heavy contamination, and compared with direct counts of bacteria, it saves time and money. You might have observed, those of you who travel on the motorways or on GT roads. I'll especially talk about one of the largest cities in Pakistan, and that is Lahore. Next time when you are entering Lahore during morning hours or during afternoon, do observe that there is a van which is a milk testing van of the food authority parked on the left side of the road. And normally all those chillers or all those vehicles which are bringing in milk from other cities are stopped over there, and the quality of their milk is checked over there. They have automated machines available over there which do all kinds of tests. I'll also be discussing a few other tests with you, but those tests are mainly related with pasteurization of milk. This methylene blue reduction test, which I discussed with you, is done on raw milk. Well, now let's continue with the essential steps in hygienic milk production. The first step is that animals must be clean and healthy. The second step is milking should be done away from the herd because there are chances of contamination. In this picture, you see that milking equipment is attached to the teats of the udder and is being milked. And of course, this is one of the most hygienic ways of milking cows and buffaloes. The next step is that the milk handler should also be clean and healthy. She or he, whoever is milking, should wear clean outer garments during milking or processing the milk. The next step is that milking room should be clean, ventilated and dustless. This is very, very important. Another step is that utensils and equipment for milking and milk handling must be clean. Then immediately before milking, the udder and teats of the cow must be washed with clean, lukewarm water and dried with clean cloths, a separate one for each cow. Then we have a step immediately after milking. The milk must be removed from the shed, placed in a clean and covered receptacle and kept in a cool place. I already mentioned to you that whenever or wherever possible, milking machines must be used and milk should be cooled immediately to below 10 degrees centigrade after it is drawn to retard bacterial growth. Well, as far as pasteurization of milk is concerned, pasteurized milk is raw milk that has been heated to a specified temperature and time to kill pathogens that may be found in raw milk. And pathogens are microorganisms such as bacteria that make us sick. In some countries, by law, all milk sold to the public must be pasteurized and packaged in a licensed dairy plant. But over here in our country, still we don't have such a law. So it's a challenging job for the food authority to maintain the quality of milk. As far as pasteurization of milk is concerned, pasteurization may also be defined as the heating of milk to such temperatures and for such periods of time as are required to destroy any pathogens that may be present while causing minimal changes in the composition of milk, flavor of milk, and the nutritive value of milk. And there are several methods of pasteurization which I'll be discussing with you in the subsequent slides. In this slide, you can see the different steps in pasteurization of milk, starting off from raw milk receiving, filtering that milk, then raw milk storage, then passing the milk through a clarifier or separator through which raw cream is taken out and is stored, and then we go for the pasteurization process, in which there is also homogenization and vitamin addition. You will find on the shelf certain pasteurized milks, especially imported milks, in which there are vitamins added to that milk bottle. And then pasteurized milk is stored. It is passed through a filler and is used, packaging material is used for filling, and then it is sent to a cold storage and then finally for distribution. Again, in this slide, you can see the whole process. You can see that the cows are grazing and then if it's a well-established dairy farm, then milking machine is used for milking the cows twice a day, and then this milk is stored in a refrigerator, and then it is transported in a milk tanker daily, and delivery to and from the dairy farm is done, and then it is taken to the dairy farm or plant where pasteurization is to be done, and cheese is made from that milk, cream is removed, butter is made, and then the milk which has been pasteurized is packaged and then sent to supermarkets and shops for or retail outlets from where the customers buy milk and then drink this milk or use this milk for different purposes. Well, as far as pasteurization of milk is concerned, there are different methods. Pasteurization may be defined as the heating of milk to such temperatures and for such periods of time as are required to destroy any pathogens that may be present while causing minimal changes in the composition, flavor, nutritive value. And there are several methods of pasteurization. They are widely used. The first is the holder, or we also call it the VAT method, VAT, VAT method. In this process, milk is kept at 63 to 66 degrees centigrade for at least 30 minutes and then quickly cooled to 5 degrees centigrade. VAT method is recommended for small and rural communities. In larger cities, it is not recommended, or it is going out of use. Then we have this method of flash pasteurization, also known as high temperature short time pasteurization. In it, what we do is heat the milk to between 72 degrees centigrade to 74 degrees centigrade for 15 to 20 seconds. Then we have the high temperature short time pasteurization method, which uses metal plates and hot water to raise milk temperatures to at least 161 degrees centigrade for not less than 15 seconds, followed by rapid cooling. Here I will like to highlight a little further this high temperature and short time method. Milk is rapidly heated milk is rapidly I would say heated to nearly 72 degrees centigrade and is then rapidly cooled to 4 degrees centigrade in certain instances. And this is now the most widely used method. Very large quantities of milk per hour can be pasteurized by this method. And as far as the UHT method is concerned, also known as the ultra high temperature method, milk is rapidly heated usually in two stages. The second stage usually being under pressure to 125 degrees centigrade for a few seconds only, and it is then rapidly cooled and bottled as quickly as possible. Further, I would like to comment is that pasteurization is a preventive measure of public health importance and corresponds in all respects to the modern principles of supplying safe milk. Then pasteurization kills nearly 90% of the bacteria in milk, including the more heat-resistant tubercle bacillus and the Q fever organisms. But it will not kill thermoduric bacteria nor the bacterial spores. Therefore, despite pasteurization, with subsequent rise in temperature, the bacteria are bound to multiply. And in order to check the growth of microorganisms, pasteurized milk is rapidly cooled to 4 degrees centigrade. And it should be kept cold until it reaches the consumer. And hygienically produced pasteurized milk has keeping a quantity of not more than 8 to 12 hours at 18 degrees centigrades. So mind it, it is not the room temperature, which is 25 degrees centigrades. It has to kept in refrigerators, commercial refrigerators, before it is bought by the customers and is utilized by them. Well, now I will like to discuss with you tests of pasteurized milk. First is the phosphatase test. The test is widely used to check the efficiency of pasteurization. The test is based on the fact that raw milk contains an enzyme called phosphatase, which is destroyed on heating at a temperature which corresponds closely with the standard time and temperature required for pasteurization. At 60 degrees centigrade for 30 minutes, phosphatase is completely destroyed. Consequently, the test is used to detect inadequate pasteurization or the addition of raw milk to pasteurized milk. Then we have the standard plate count method. The bacteriological quality of pasteurized milk is determined by the standard plate count. Most countries in the West enforce a limit of 30,000 bacterial count per ml of pasteurized milk. Then the last is the coliform count test. And coliform organisms are usually completely destroyed by pasteurization, and therefore their presence in pasteurized milk is an indication either of improper pasteurization or post-pasteurization contamination. And the standard in most countries is that coliforms be absent in 1 ml of milk. With this, I end today's session. I'm again sharing this slide, this picture which I already shared with you, that of the total cycle from cows grazing in fields and milking being done and then being refrigerated and then transported through chiller tankers to a dairy farm where it is pasteurized. The milk is pasteurized and cream is filtered out, butter is made, cheese is made, and the rest of the milk is, after pasteurization, is packaged and then sent to supermarkets and shops. I thank you all for your attention, and today I end the session with a divine message from the Quran on milk, which says, "And no doubt there is a lesson for you in the kettle. We give you to drink of what is in their bellies from between dung and the blood, milk pure, that is pleasant for the drinkers." In another surah, the Quran says, and I quote, "And undoubtedly in the kettle there is a lesson for you. We give you to drink of what is in their bellies, and you have in them many benefits, and of them you have your food." With this, I thank you all, and inshallah, I'll be talking to you in our next session. Until then, take care. Allah Hafiz.